Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So this is video on Angular 14 and Angular material, which is a UI library, and we are going to implement a CRUD sample. So here is a small definition about Angular. Okay, Angular is a framework that can be used to build single page applications. Okay, that means on every page request Angular won't send request to the server. It's going to render the content based on the route dynamically. Okay. And Angular applications are built in with components that make our code simple and clean. So to separate and to maintain a clean code, Angular composes of components. Component is nothing but a small piece of code. Okay. We can separate like that. So here is a small diagrammatic representation of the Angular component. In general, Angular component consists of three files. One is component TypeScript file where we will write our TypeScript logic. Another one is HTML TypeScript HTML file where we are going to add our HTML content. Another one is CSS. All these three files combinedly makes Angular component. Okay. So here data flow will be two-way. Means from HTML we can pass the content to the TS file, TypeScript file. From TypeScript to HTML file also we can push. So it is a bidirectional and it supports events like button click events, mouse over, like every normal JavaScript events it will support. So for every event, we should have a method registered in our TS file to execute our custom logic. Okay, so that's all about the Angular. Now let's create a sample example. And for this demo, I am going to use the Angular material UI components. So to create the Angular application, we should have Angular CLI in our local machine. So search like Angular CLI command and go to the link, and here is the command for installing the Angular CLI in our local machine. So here is -g that represents globally. So you need just open a command prompt. It doesn't require any specific folder path. Just open command prompt and paste this command and run it. Once that is run it, once that is successfully installed, we are good to create our Angular application. Okay. And after installing the CLI, the command for creating our Angular application is ng space new and name of your project. Okay. And next, after project is successfully created, we should go to the project path, and to run the application, this is the command. Okay. So in this page, you can find all the required commands to start the Angular application. Okay. Now let me create the Angular application. So here is the command for creating the Angular application. We know the command ng space new space name of your project. So let's run the command. And here CLI asking whether we want to include Angular routing or not. Say yes, we are going to include the routing. So enter Y, that means yes. Okay. Next, it will ask for what kind of style sheet we want, whether CSS or SCSS or SAS or less. I will choose normal CSS. Our project got created successfully. Let's go to the project root folder. So cd space and 14. Okay, now I am in the root folder of the project. Now let's open our project in the Visual Studio code editor. For that, command is like code space dot. It automatically opens our project in the Visual Studio code editor. So here is our Angular application. And if you go to package.json, here you can see Angular file versions, which is 14 latest version. Okay. Now let's explore the file structures, existing files of this application. Okay. So package.json, let's start with package.json. So package.json contains comments like building the project, running the project, and also it will contain the references of the third-party libraries that support for the development of the application. Okay. And next file is Angular JSON. This contains all setup and application running configurations. Okay. And next, inside of the SRC, we have index.html file. So this is the only real HTML file in the Angular application. So whenever user requests our application, this is the HTML file gets downloaded. Okay. So here you can see app.route, which is the root element. All our Angular component contents gets rendered inside of this root element, app-root. Okay. And we have main.ts file. So this is the entry file for our Angular application, for starting the Angular application. Okay. And we have default entry files like in the app folder, app module, which is the root module. Okay. So module is nothing but some group of code. We can name it as module. So like this, we can have n number of modules in the Angular application based on our business. But app module is our root of all modules. Okay. And we have app routing module where we can configure the routing. Okay. And we have default uh, initial component. You can see I mentioned, right, component consists of three files: css, tss, and html file. So app component.ts, app html.ts, app component.css. So this is the my entry component. Okay, so that's all about the default files in our Angular application. Now I want to install the Angular material, which is a UI component library. Okay, where we can easily integrate the rich UI components like cards, menu, toolbar, table. Every component is auto available in the material library. Okay, let's try to install it. So search like Angular material and click on the top link. Okay, and go to get started. Okay, and here you can see a command ng add at the rate and angular slash material. So let's copy this command. So before installing the Angular material, first let's run our application and see what is the default output and structure. Okay, to run our Angular application, command is ng serve. So this command will start a local server where we can run our Angular application. So it runs under localhost 4200. Okay, my application is running successfully, and here you can see this is the local port our application is running. Copy that URL and try to access this. So here is our Angular application. This is the default HTML that comes when we create our application. Okay, now let's install the Angular material. So we are going to remove all the static content. Okay, so copy this command. Now let me run the application in one tab and open one more terminal. Okay, so in this terminal, let's try to install the Angular material command. So paste the command, install it. So it is asking package is installed and further installation. Would you like to proceed? Yes. Let's enter Y to continue. And it provides default themes like indigo, pink, deep purple, pink, blue, gray are the custom. So we have to choose one of it. I am going to choose the first one, indigo slash pink. Okay. And it is asking for global angular material typography style. Yes, we can say yes for it. And it is asking for to whether to include or exclude the default animations available with the Angular component. So I would like to say yes, I will select the first option, and installation is successful, and you can see some of the relevant dependencies are that are related to Angular material updated into these files. Okay, now what I can do now, let's remove the HTML, static HTML we have, right? This HTML, let's remove this HTML. So this HTML is in the our default component app component.html. So let's remove all this HTML. Up to here, remove it. but router outlet, which is a default Angular component. So this component is for when you have page level components. Till now we haven't configured any routes, right? So route level component content will render inside of this element. Okay, for now leave it like this and save and check our application. Okay, we have completely removed the static HTML. Now, first thing I want to do, I want to add a nice menu bar, which is the uh, from the Angular material. Okay, so go to Angular material website and click on the components. So these are all the available components. Okay, very easily integrate with nice documentation here. Okay, so we want to integrate the menu, right? For that we have to go for the toolbar section. So click on the toolbar section. Okay, and here you can see few examples. So these are the menus. Okay, so now the thing is I want to configure this menu, this simple menu. Okay, for that let me copy the HTML content, material HTML content. So this is the HTML content for the menu. Okay, so I want third menu, right? So this is the third menu. This is the third menu. Okay, inside of the p tag, let me copy this mat toolbar element. Okay, copy and add it here in the app component. Here we are, I want to remove some unwanted code. I don't want any button, want all these things. Simple span tag where I can give a name to my application. So this is about I'm going to create a simple CRUD on students information. So I will name it like students. Okay, that is my menu heading. And here we can see the red line, that is due to we have to import the this component module in the app component. So to import it, you can go here and go to the API section. Here is the import. So copy this import, okay, and go to app module. Okay, add it here. Now we have to import into our imports array. Okay, let me add it to my imports array. Save it. And now we can see that red line is gone. Okay, now, okay, before checking, after installing, we haven't restarted our server, right? So please restart the server, or else you won't see the Angular material changes appearing on your website. Okay, so after installing material, please ensure to rerun your application one more time. Now let's go to our website. So here is the website, and we can see a nice blue color menu added. Okay, so we have already used one of the Angular material component, that is toolbar component, to add as a menu. Now let's try to integrate a API to complete our demo. So we need a API, right, to bind the data to implement CRUD operation like create, read, update, delete operation. We need a API, right? So for that, I am going to set up a fake API, that is the JSON server API. You can search like JSON server. Okay, you can go for npm. Okay, and first thing is, first here is the command to install JSON server globally onto your local machine. Okay, just like Angular CLI, how we install globally, this JSON server also we have to install globally. For that, you can open command prompt from anywhere in your system and run this command. So after installing this command, set up the JSON server. Okay, run the JSON server. So for that, you can create a folder, and inside of that folder, you can run this command json-server watch.db.json file. Okay, but for my demo, what I will do, I am going to integrate this JSON server also inside of my Angular application. Okay, so let me add it as a one of the command in my package.json so that I can run easily. Okay, so go to package.json. In the script section, let me add new command like json run, and the command is okay. So what is this command means? run the JSON server and in the watch mode. Why in the watch mode means here we are uh, trying to use a db.json file. So what is this db.json file means? It is normal JSON file where we can add our dummy data. Okay, once this server is running, this server will fetches the data from the simple JSON file, but its look and feel looks like actual API only. Okay, so now let's run JSON server. Okay, for that let's open terminal. Okay, and open one more terminal. So command is like npm space run space the name of the script command json-run. Okay, it started running, and here you can see few endpoints. Okay, how these endpoints are framed means whenever we first time run this command, here you can see a log creating db.json with some default data that represents here also you can see oops db.json doesn't exist, so creating the db.json. Whenever you are creating running this command first time, it will check for db.json file. If it exists, it's going to use the data inside of the JSON file and creates the endpoints like this. Okay. If it doesn't contains any JSON file, it will create a new JSON file with some dummy data. Okay. And it will create a route based on it. Okay. If I go to, if I search like db.json file, here is the db.json file we got. Okay. And here is the some sample data it's contains. And you are seeing three type of endpoints, right? So the root property, okay, is taken as a endpoints like post, comments is one endpoint, okay, and profile is one endpoint. Okay, like this default root properties will be taken as one point. So like this, using this JSON server, you can set up a number of uh, endpoints. Okay, but I'm going to remove all these things. I'm going to create my own data. So that is like students. So now my endpoint will be students. Okay, root property, and it will be array. And this array, let me add sample data I have already prepared. Okay, okay, this is my sample students data like ID, first name, last name, gender. So all this data will return as a API response from my JSON server. So if I check my logs, I can see there will be a new endpoint. See, new endpoint slash students, and this JSON server runs at port number 3000. Okay, if I copy this command and access it to our browser, see, I am getting the API response. Okay, like this, I can implement all CRUD operation like read, fetch, delete. So you can see here, it will show you all the supported routes. Okay, post, put, delete, everything it will support. Okay, everything it will be supported. See, getting specific ID. So if I give some ID value slash I one first record I want, see, if I want second record, filtering by some ID also it supports. Okay, so that's all about the local JSON server. Okay, next we are trying to focus on read operation like fetching the data from this JSON server API in our Angular application. On successfully receiving the response, that response we are going to bind it to our using Angular material table. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video delivered some useful content to you all. If you like my video, please do support me by liking the video and also by subscribing to my channel. Soon we are going to meet with new content. Until then, signing off.